How you doing, Courtney? Welcome back, everybody, to Upskill and Chill. Courtney's got some exciting news, don't you, Courtney?
I do. I have an interview coming up.
Pew pew
I'm,
pew. Yeah,
I know,
interviews.
I
We
know.
love
Hey, hey,
interviews.
hey, we do love interviews. We don't love interviews. We love
No,
the opportunity to interview.
yeah, there you go. That's a much better way of saying it. Yeah,
No, but no, I mean, just like the Academy, I'm happy to be considered. I'm honored to be nominated.
absolutely. Best of luck to Courtney on that. Hopefully things go well.
Updates on that
And
next week, maybe.
yeah, and for myself, as I already stated, I was out of town, briefly back in town, and then heading back out of town again. So this is just a Tuesday episode, just to do it because I had so much fun last time. I wanted to be involved again. And I don't know. Courtney could still stream on Friday if you want, or you can skip this
I
week
was
and go to
thinking
next
about it.
week. Yeah.
I was thinking of taking like a holiday 2 days since we have our American 4th of July this
Hmm.
Thursday, and the day after, who knows? I know in my neighborhood it'll be fireworks probably all night
Right.
through the night. So,
Right. We've already heard stuff popping off in our neighborhood, like in the last couple of days. People are already blowing stuff up. So,
same. The
yeah,
tests have begun.
yeah, exactly. Uh, they're stress testing before the real thing.
Yeah, we're
Um,
stressed. Let me tell you.
uh, so yeah, you do you, whatever you're feeling, and then I'll be out the following week. So probably back to the testing stuff, which will be cool to see. I'll try and channel in on that and watch for a little bit as well. And then I'll be back again for regular stuff. So why not dive right back into what we were doing to our app that is looking more and more beautiful every day. Um, I have it spun up here. Do you want me to take the reins for the moment?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Let's see, share
Ah,
screen
yes.
one.
I like this color scheme.
I do too. I do too. I think um I think it's going to work really well. I'm really excited to see what we can do with it once we get into a little bit more design. I was thinking today, because we spent quite a bit of time last time just on this button, and ooh, that looks good. But I was thinking about maybe we'll see how things go. But I was thinking about maybe just trying to get some more of the form and shape happening, and
Okay.
less concern with like setting up the very final design that we're going to stick with for forever, and just kind of like putting some stuff out there and getting a little bit of that happening.
That feels good.
Um,
Feels right to me.
okay, so we were talking about these two vertical designs, and I'm still really in love with that idea. I guess I would really like to center this thing. So
Yeah,
it's not in the
that would be great.
upper left hand corner. So see, this is our page. We might have to come back there again. Actually, wait, can
You know
I
what's
insert
interesting
you?
I'm noticing? So I have a two monitor setup. I imagine you do as well.
I do, yes.
I've got an Asus display, and then I also have my MacBook. And I'm noticing our vanilla color looks very different between the two
Oh,
displays.
yes, yes, it does. I've got like on my right side where I have that's where I've got like the stream and like that's my secondary like um information monitor.
Hmm.
That one is much older and definitely has a different little bit of a different color thing. And then my primary monitor where I put my code editor and I have all this stuff, colors look a little bit more bright, a little bit more vibrant over there.
Yeah, same here. The specifically the vanilla background is what looks very different between the two. On my monitor, it looks very pale, I would say, and more yellow.
Mm.
Whereas on my MacBook screen, it's more like it's a bit more orange, I would say. I even moved it over just to compare, and for sure it
Yeah,
is the screens.
yeah, I've had to do that a couple of times doing stuff for Nebulae because we have a couple of colors that like you have to do like a this thing. You have to look at the screen at an angle to like see the white and the off white difference, or
Right.
moving it back and forth between the monitors definitely changes those
You know,
colors too.
okay, real quick, I just want to check something. If I use a color picker, will it bring different colors? Or
No, it
never mind.
shouldn't.
It'll still evaluate the
It's
same,
gonna
huh?
it's gonna be the same hex code and the same color, but the monitor, the LEDs in your monitor are just displaying it like a little brighter or a little darker.
Can you pop it back on your screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, so You know what's crazy? It actually does do a different number on mine.
Really?
Yeah, I'm seeing different values. Not very different, but definitely different.
That's wild. I never would have guessed that you'd get a different color. Because it's in the code, it's the same hex color. It's just being displayed
It,
differently on the monitor.
so now the question is, which one has the true color? Let me dive into here and just see real quick.
That
So vanilla FB. Oh, you know what? It's giving it to me in RGBV values. Let me see if I
ah,
can switch that. Let's do it in. Huh. Not super important for what we're doing, I suppose, but very interesting all the same to me.
yeah, I feel like I want to inspect that for what in the world is going on there. But um, so I'm
I'll
trying to
explore this just a little. Go ahead and start with what you're
yeah.
doing.
So I want to center our blue, like the main app body there on the vanilla back screen, and trying to think here. We've got our main on the home page. And that's just that page. Like, so this should be in the layout, I believe. So the body, is that where? So if that's true, then we should be able to go flex and then justify center and items center. And let's see if that moves there. Okay, yeah, I am thinking about that correctly. So our hierarchy is in the layout. We have our body, and this children is where each new page is going to be inserted. On our links page where we have the to do app and maps link, this page is being inserted here in the body, or when we go to the to do app, it's being put in here, which means we are lacking a main tag on our page over here, which is kind of an accessibility faux pas.
Should it be a section tag instead of a main tag? Because you only supposed to have one main tag in a document, isn't that right?
I think it's one main tag per page.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think it's per page because it's the
Okay.
main content of that page, right? A section is going to be like subsections of your main, as I think about it. So you have one HTML tag, you have one body for the whole thing because everything just goes inside the body, and then your main, I think, is going to be per page. You check that out, and I'm gonna take a look at this real quick. And open up that inspector. I love having this tool to be able to just kind of see how things are being outlined. So we've got some padding on here. We could use some padding over here too. Our padding
Um,
is probably a little excessive
yeah,
across the board. Um,
yeah, probably.
so we got padding like
It's
16
I'm
here.
unclear. It says you're only supposed to have one per. Let me make sure. HTML standard now states the following requirement: a document must not have more than one main element that does not have the hidden attribute specified. So only one cannot be hidden. So the answer is
So,
you can't
well, I
have
mean,
multiple main.
but the main, when you changed your page, you're taking out the old, like if your page has a main on it, your page one has a main tag and your page two has a main tag. When your page one is displayed, you have your main tag from that page. When you switch to page two, all of that markup is being removed from the document, and then you're getting your page two markup, which then would contain its own main,
This might require a bit
right?
more research as well, but it might be actually an accessibility issue to have multiple mains because,
Hmm.
like, it's still the same base URL, and I think
Okay.
I've seen either like the use of like article or section before as sort
Yeah.
of like where it's like okay now these are like groups of content within your website,
Hmm.
but it is a little confounded by the fact that we have we're working in a single page application, right, which is
Right.
rendering different routes. So I don't know if that's
Yeah,
changes things.
because this route has a main tag, But when we switch over, and that is, that's this page. So I mean, even if we look here, we have a main tag in our markup.
Right.
But then if we go to the to-do app, we no longer have a main tag.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, is that I think each page is supposed to have a main, because you shouldn't have a page without the main.
Interesting. Okay.
We could do more research on that.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Getting accessibility right's important, so I'm with you on this.
Yep. Okay, so I changed the padding around here a little bit and added some padding over here. I'd really like to get these guys
Styled up.
Each of our to-do items to be a little bit more here. So we could do that.
Do you think is it too much to like create a separate task component and like?
So I thought about. I mean, we could for some of the stuff like creating our input components. I was wanting to have a little bit more prep time for that. I really like building components, as I mentioned last time, but I also haven't done it for a little while. We could absolutely make a. Sure, why not? Let's
if you want to continue styling, I'm happy to do that too. But
I mean, the styling going right along with it as well. So if we're coming over here, we have our.
That's, I suppose, even the purpose of doing this.
To do, that's the page. So we have components, and then those are my Google Map components. I'm just thinking about here. These are our pages, so those are not where. So we have components. So we're gonna go. How deeply nested do we want this to be? Do we want to make a? Because thinking about this app in the future, again, having like multiple like micro apps within the app, we would want to categorize our components based on micro app, I'll call it.
Sure.
So if this is to do, this our thing, we can make this to do, and then we can call this task.tsx. So it's
that feels right.
The to do app, and then a task thing here.
We could probably do the same eventually with the maps components, and then I feel like there might be things like input or button or something that could be kind of at that top level of component because they're shared by multiple portions.
Yeah, the folder convention that I've seen for that is common. That's what I've used in the past.
I like that.
So you would have common, where you have, like you said, like a button component that's used all over the place. That's a common component.
I should do that too. With personal projects, I mean.
Let's see. So const task equals all of that, export default task. And then do we need to do the use client here?
I learned something interesting about this. So for one, I don't think we're going to keep state. We'll pass down props,
right?
Probably to this, but also children of client components are themselves automatically client components.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
This will be a child of one, so it'll already
because this one is already.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So now the types here. So we want to type our props, right?
Yes.
We want to make a interface. We'll just say task props. This is the easiest thing that I always see, is that when you're like either typing or interfacing the props for a component, you just name it whatever props. Like it just makes it super easy.
I do too.
Great. So we're gonna have task name, description, priority. I mean, is there a way we can pull off of our previous type for this, or?
I suppose we could just use the task type.
Because we
have. Where do we have that?
It's right here. Because I mean, we're gonna want all of this information inside of each of those, because when we click, like the idea is we're gonna click on an individual task. We're gonna use that backend route that you're creating to find a task by ID. We'll pull that one down, and then we'll probably bring that up in like a modal or something. So to do that,
so maybe you don't even need to bring in the start a new type, create a new type. Sorry, you could probably just assign it task.
well, we want to I mean, we could. I think we could go a couple of different ways here. So okay, so then if we're going to use that type, then would it be like here we could destructure them. So
Mm-hmm.
task name, description, priority, ID, created at, completed. Okay, completed. Yes, and then here we go. Just call it task. Task name does not.
Oh, you did take name.
Yes. Task name. We can just call it. It's a task. I mean, that's the type, right? I think
I
we
think
do that
so.
until we run into a problem. I mean, the thing that I'm seeing here is that over here in our type, the ID specifically
Mm-hmm.
is optional. I mean, so is the description, and those are I mean, at this point in time, the ID is definitely going to exist, but we did that because of the whole front end back end flow.
Yeah.
So I guess yeah, let's just do it this way until we run into a potential problem.
We could set a default for description, I suppose. In the
Yeah,
props, I mean.
yeah, we could.
ID should always come. I think
Yeah.
if it's in our database, it'll have an ID. It
Um,
wouldn't be allowed to. So yeah, okay.
uh, oh, description. That'd be just a default property there, default value.
Yeah.
And priority, we could set that to a 1 by default. And completed, because is that
Well,
not?
because completed and does priority is always sending something, right? Yeah,
Yep,
it's not
and
optional.
completed. Yep, yep, you're right. Cool. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so we have all of that. We're passing it in. We don't have to handle any state here. So what we want to do is, this is going to be all of this that we can. We're going to rip that out of here and put that here. We're going to have the li, task ID, and then this is just going to be each of those. Priority, completed.
Yes.
Oops. Come on. Completed. I mean, we could put everything here. You know, we got. We can call it date, but you know, created at. That we're going to have to do some processing on, or some
Yes.
convert.
Definitely.
And I don't think we need to display the ID in the UI necessarily.
In fact, we might not even need to pass the ID down, right? Well, no, because each
No,
task component will
we do.
utilize the
Yep,
ID.
because on here we're going to have somewhere in here, like on here, we're going to do an on click, right? And that is going to need the ID to. This component is going to make the call,
Oh, I see. Okay.
right? Click here. Now we could do either we do that inside of this component, or we could make that call in the parent component and then pass down the. I mean, there's. Do you know what I mean? Sorry.
If we
Built
didn't
the function in the parent component, you could pass that function down, and then on click you trigger it down in here, but
yeah.
the logic is still in the parent. I think we try and keep this component as simple as possible.
Yeah, my question was, so like in the parent component, we're gonna tasks.map and then render one of these task components for each
Right.
entry in our task list, right? Which
Right.
will require that we have a key for each one. Now, if we don't have a key explicitly stated on this task on this particular like where you are right now, will it accept like the key that's already listed inside of each component? Like on the list element of each component, like we have it set
I
now.
feel like it should.
Oh, also we can get rid of task before task.id in the
Yes,
key. Yeah.
that's correct. Um, I think it should. Because we're just, I mean, this just gets replaced by the markup in the component.
Okay, cool.
So now my question here is, if we have to pass, we have to give it a name. If I'm giving it the name task data, then up here, each of these isn't individual anymore, because okay. Here, this would be like task name, description, priority, each of those being individually passed in here. If we make, task name, description,
Right.
priority, everything here. If we're going to pass it as one thing here, which I think makes it just that much simpler, then we have to do an extra layer of destructuring here, right? This would be task data, and we have to. Does the bracket go here? The two-level destructuring. I haven't done that as much before. Does not exist on type task. Because that's not the right thing anymore.
Well, we'd
do you know
have
what
to create
you know what I'm trying to do?
Aren't we already destructuring technically from task data though?
Oops.
It doesn't seem mad at us.
The thing it's mad about is the fact that it doesn't have
We're not importing it yet.
the task import.
Yeah.
We are now. And then keep props for element and interior task data task is not assignable to. So yeah, we have. See, this is named task data, and we're not doing anything with task data here. So what do we have to do? Like interface task data,
and then that's a task.
Does that work? Missing key prop for element in interior.
Oh yeah, we do have to put the key on that.
Okay. We'll task. It's not assignable to.
Okay. So maybe, well, okay, we don't have anything. Change the type to task prop.
Oh yeah, I just realized I'm not doing. Is that now that task name does not exist on type task props?
Right, because task data is what exists on task props. So now I think we have to do the double destructure that you were talking about.
Yeah. Is this the right way to do this? Like, I feel like passing it this way is fine. Like, this is what we should do. One pass in. But now the thing is, this task here is an object, but it's being wrapped in an object, right? As it's being passed in, because it's inside props. And inside of props, of props, we have task data. So it's like props dot task data is the object we're trying to destructure from.
Right. You could just, I mean, I'm not sure what the right way to do this is. I suppose what you could do, could you not call the property right here task instead of task data? And then.
Yeah, we could call it whatever we want. I don't think that's going to change.
That won't change anything now.
No. Because, yeah, it's props dot task data. And we don't have to call it task data. We could just call it task. It doesn't matter. But then we're running into a name clash there. Task data. So over here we have props dot task data. So we need to props.
Maybe if we build from like the highest level down, it'll be easier because we're trying to destructure, but I feel like that's been confusing. Like, can we get it to just not yell at us from?
Yeah.
From
so
the simplest.
If we take this, we take props. Has an any type to be task props.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I guess we could destructure all of these
I just want
down
to
here.
see. Let's check out props just to make sure we're thinking about this right. I know that
Okay,
I'm a little embarrassed that
good
I
call.
can't just like whip this together, but and I think I have. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's not going to let us even do that because of all this jazz. So we're just going to make that all go away, or go this way. We'll, parsing error, blah blah blah.
Oh, we need to just pass something in. It doesn't like an empty return
Uh,
because we have
yep.
the parentheses.
Just take an empty li.
Ah, there
Take
it
an
is.
empty li. Good grief. Okay. Task data. So it's props.taskdata task data.
And
No,
then
no.
inside the task. Okay.
Props.task data, and then we have all of this. So I feel like I was on the right track before.
Yeah.
We'll just but so it's props, and then we have our thing here that has right.
Maybe what you could do is props, then task data on the next object that you're about to open up, and then type that as a task. And then we don't even need the interface at that point. And then we can just destructure in the actual component, like above the return statement, but after this line. You'd be like
Yeah. Oops.
you could do it also, I'm sure, inside the parameters for this function, but it feels
Let's
like
just do
maybe that
that
would
for a
be.
second. Cannot find task data.
Oh, why is that? Cannot find name task data.
Nesting destructuring has always I've done it a couple of times, but it has definitely been like a mystifying thing to me. So this is good. This is something else to learn.
Definitely.
So um, uh, I'm going to look up nested destructuring.
Yeah. Good call.
So if we've got a user item, it's got some stuff on it. You can do, yep, I know the basic pattern. That's fine.
I
Example,
guess you could
extract
do
prop.
props.task data because that's what it's looking for. It might mean that we made it too complicated. No. I mean, sorry, not in there. In the destructure statement on line 8.
Ah, okay.
So maybe we could simplify
You could
the
do that,
arguments.
but
Yeah.
now I want to see how we do
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
Because-
Do it. Please do.
So you're looking for the key. So the thing is, you have to think in the keys. So we've got, if we're gonna do it, let's just do this up here. Um, uh, so we're gonna destructure. That's props. We're inside of props right now, right? Inside of that container.
Oh, and then you would do it a second time, is what you're
So then we're
saying.
gonna do task data, and now we could be able to get oh, and that didn't there. Task name. And then this object here is a task item. Is that how we now typing it? I think is going to be the next difficulty that we're going to run into. I think this is the proper destructuring. We're inside of an object, which is our props, and then we have the key, which is task data, and then we're going to destructure that object here to get each of these, right?
Okay.
I think that's all correct. I think the thing we're running into here is now we want to type this nested object. Oops, don't do that. Please don't do that. And I think what we're going to do here is if we have task props, which we should put, oops, jeez. I think here, because that's going to type the whole object. We have
Okay.
task props that task like I had before, and now that
Oh,
looks like that's okay.
now it looks like we're not mad.
Right? So you don't want to put the types inside the like the nesting of the objects. You
Mm.
want to type the top level object, which we have here now as task props, which has props has a property of task data, which is of type task. So then that's going to type this object with task data, the types, and now we have all of our stuff here. So, man, some of my plugins need some work. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this okay. Yeah. My NeoVim needs a little bit of work. Now we're all kinds of
NeoVim's been on vacation too.
yeah, it needs we've got let's get rid of that. It doesn't like those curly braces in there. Okay. So completed and created at now. And created at.
Okay.
Okay. That should work, which it does.
Hey,
All
there
right.
we go.
That took a long time to get there, but that's what we're here for. That's the learning that we're talking about. And like I said, I know I've run into that a few times, but doing it off the top of my head. Okay, so we don't need all this garbage. All right, so we've got our nested destructure of our task data here. We do have the ID out here, which you said you were raising that, and I said no, and you were right. We do need the ID on the top level. So we probably don't need key in here then, right?
I don't think so, but yeah.
I don't think we need it. We'll still need ID, I think, in here eventually for like fetching the individual task. But
Right.
okay,
right.
okay. So here we are. We have our component. Now we can actually get this is
Style it.
yeah, I can actually style it, right? So let's see. So we've got our
They're probably flex to start with, right?
yeah. I was thinking outward in. So I wanted to add. We'll
Oh,
just
okay.
add like a little bit of padding to start. It's probably not gonna. Oh, it's not actually even shown. Is padding one padding? Oh, whoa, what is? Okay, li class name.
Oh, it's
Oh,
you've got only one S.
typos, man. Okay,
There it is.
Now
Okay.
we've got padding within each one, so we have a little bit of separation. I swear I know how to do this. And then we have to figure out what we want to do. Do we want to add a different background color to these guys? Right. I think that would make sense. So it's not the same border background color, or the
Yeah.
background color is the main body. Do we want to give it one of our pale blues?
Yeah, like
One of
a
our
lighter
blues, I
blue.
think. Like, is it the light blue? So we go BG. Is it just light blue?
It's a light blue camel case. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well that's fine for now. So now we have space in between them, but there's no space in between them. Like that's just padding within each of those. So we should come back on the UL class with 2, and we can add. Again, we could do like our space Y. It doesn't have to be a lot, I feel like. Now we got a little bit of space between
Does
each of
that
them.
create margin?
I think technically, yes, it is a margin.
Okay, yeah.
So I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, was lying in bed, and this thought just came to me, where we did space stuff here, but we
Mm-hmm.
we did like space Y over here.
Yeah.
But what we can also do would be, depending on the situation, we could do flex. So we could do justify content space between or space
Mm-hmm.
evenly, right? And that doesn't do the margin then. That's going to distribute spacing. So what would that be like if we went if we make this a flex container and we make it a flex column,
Mm-hmm.
and then we do justify evenly. Okay, so the space, so there's no extra space is the problem. So that only works if you have space to distribute.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
If we did this on the form, then the between the each of the form elements and the button, it would cover the full height. Like the button would be all the way at the bottom, and all the space available would be
And
in between.
at the highest level, we're doing is it width fit? We're like fitting the container to the content.
Um, Here in the markup, yeah,
Yeah,
width
W fit.
fits.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess we're not fitting height though to content.
No, I think that just happens automatically. It's like so
Oh, okay.
there's more, like this is all taking up more space on this side now, so the larger container is growing to fit that, and then we only had so much space over here.
So there'll never be extra space to distribute then.
In between here, probably not, since this is the largest thing, at least for now. So I think that idea of doing the like I had the space Y of like 3, I think is fine for right now, because that's actually going to
Yeah.
create space in between each one. I'm seeing a lot of pointy corners, and I'd like to get rid of those pointy corners. So we've got rounded. What did we use before? Was it medium? I
MD, I think, yeah.
think it's rounded medium. Yep, that's the same as the
Ah,
button. And then we want to do the same thing on our. No, it's too high up in the markup here. So rounded medium and rounded medium. There we go. So now we've got nice corners on things.
so does a question for you then, because I noticed like we don't have borders set for all these, but technically we're editing the border radius, right?
Correct.
Um, do you not need a border to have a border radius setting,
I don't think
or
so.
does this automatically add a border?
No, I think border is specifically for like a visible border, like some sort of
Okay,
like a line that you're going to draw around the outside. Border radius, um, border radius is its own thing.
okay.
That's just the shape of the outside, not the look of it, if it, or like the color or the thickness or whatever you want to call it. So there, we've got those. Um, Interesting. Completed is not filled in here.
Hmm.
Do we even, is completed? It's in our type. Is it in the
Let me see
data?
here. It should default be false.
Right.
Oh, you know what? We never set a default.
Ah.
Or no, we did actually. Hold on.
Okay.
When we submit, don't we add a default? Uh, 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 I'm just taking a look here. Like when we make our API call.
It's there in the Prisma. When we make the API call,
You know what? Yeah, I don't think we've addressed completed yet. And this is a good reason
it's
to have
just in the
forward
type.
validation. Oh no, it
It's
is there though. Oh yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah. No,
this
it's
is
in the
this is
body.
the state. That's in the
Yeah, and that's
type.
what we submit. That's what we submit to the back end. Let me check
Oh
our
yeah, okay.
database just to confirm.
Yeah, because it's in the schema.
Yeah, and in the database, I have values for every entry. They all say
Okay.
false currently.
Am I misspelling something? I mean, it's accepting it.
Can you console
Complete.
log it?
Yeah, we should. Absolutely. I'm just gonna do. We can just console log task data?
Sure.
No, apparently
Oh,
cannot
no.
find task data. Okay, fine. So we'll just go with completed. False.
They all say false. So why is nothing rendering here?
Ah,
Very strange.
tasks. Here's each of our tasks. Completed is false. We're destructuring. Everything else, does it need to be like toString or something? Something funky like that? Hey, look at that. Okay.
Oh, interesting. I
So the
thought for some reason that they automatically converted to string, but I
I
suppose not.
guess I guess the Boolean does not automatically go to a string. Like a number will just should, right? That's our priority.
Right.
Priority is just is a number, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, didn't we start saving it as a string? Oh, priority is a number. No, you're right. I'm sorry.
Priority is a number. It's an integer. Yep. But then this being a Boolean, that's just a value that's not like text until we tell it to be text. So we could do the toString, or we could template literal it or whatever that is. But I think the toString is fine. Okay, so how do we want these to appear? I'm thinking about like how do we want to organize these, because we don't want to say like necessarily all of this stuff, right? We want to like we probably don't even want to have like almost like these tags, right? It should just be like this is going to be a heading inside of here, and then this is going to be a subtext, and then the rest of this information will be either off to the side or down at the bottom, like kind of grayed out or something, because these are the priority should be color coded, right?
Well, the
For
priority should probably also be converted back to low, medium, and high, like the text, because that's what we enter.
Absolutely. Yep. um So let's see. So we've got this priority options bit, and then this would be a case for creating. Let me creating like a constants file.
Yeah, yeah, like a.
If we go to source apps, and then right here we can do constants, and again we'll do to do because it's the to do app,
Mm-hmm.
and then just constants.ts.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. And then in constants, we're gonna take this and export it, or put it here and export it from here. And now here we need to import priority options. Priority options is not found. Let's import it. That should have automatically done the import. Yes. Oh, they're doing relative path instead of the absolute path. Fine, I guess, but I would like to, I don't know. So now that we've got that there, now we can also import it here.
Perfect.
See, the thing I was thinking is doing our
Yeah, the
the absolute. That just means things are so much more like maintainable. So then if we've got that, then we could make a little function here, get or convert priority. I don't know, get priority, and this would return. See, that was, it's an array. We got, so you have to look for the value of 321. So priority options dot. It's not going to be a filter. Do we have just like a, is it find? Yeah. I think it's just going to be find. Shoot, how did?
I'm trying to think of what the best way to do this. I guess, like, my first thought, I forgot that we made an array of these label and value pairs. Almost wonder if we should. I mean, this might be something to do later, but convert it into an object instead, where the key is the number and the value is the
So,
text,
uh,
like a map instead
yeah,
of an
and
array.
I've actually seen where like so this works really well for what it does. We could create either here. So maybe we don't need this constant because we could do these in their individual files too. But um, um, pri priority options map, and here we could create one would be right. Oops.
Right.
Actually,
One would
that
be,
makes
or
it,
three would be.
yeah. Let's go this way. Low. Oops. Needed to add that before copying over, but whatever. 2, 3, medium, and high. Right? Priority map. So then here, instead of doing this, we would do the map, and then can we just do it right here? We
Yeah.
can do priority options map and then index it with the priority. Is that going to be mad because we're using a number? ToString. Can we make? Do we have to make each of these a string as a key? Because I think sometimes it doesn't like the idea that a number is the key.
It does seem to have an issue with that.
Run into that in other places before as well. And then we don't need the toString anymore here. Any type, because number can't be used to index. Why? Why can't number be used to index that? That seems silly. Well, no. Okay, yeah. So I removed this, but I shouldn't have. String can't be used to index. See, I've run into this before. It does not. Why?
Yeah, there's a reason for this. Why is this? I've run into this problem sometimes too, when trying to dynamically fill in with bracket notation. And I feel like this is a TypeScript
Oh, it's absolutely a TypeScript thing.
issue. But it's like this would work in JavaScript.
Yeah. Because if we put 1 here, it doesn't
Yeah,
have a problem
right.
with that, right? We can absolutely index it with a number. Even though like it's not angry at us. Let's see, I'm putting a number in here when this is technically a string, and then and it works.
Right.
Well, it's going to pull everything as low because it's just a static number, but that actually does work. So these don't need to be strings.
I'm going to do a little reading on this real quick. Oh, you know why? It's because we need to actually type the object on the original page. We have to be more explicit with how we type
Here?
this. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hold
You
on
could
one
even
second.
do
I've got.
you could do the
Oh,
fancy notation if you want, where it would be
I
brackets instead. Like it's similar to what we've done before, but a slightly different syntax. You do key, like yeah, inside of the.
yeah. Okay, I was getting there. I've seen this, and key, and
Wait,
then
the key has to be typed as number
that's
inside
right.
of the brackets. Yeah,
No, and then it returns string, right?
exactly. I think so.
Key number. Does this have to be inside of an object though?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. It's an object. That's right. I've seen this, and I thought I had it in memory. I almost had it, but yeah, it's an object. The key because this is how you denote a key or dynamic. You do stuff with the keys. The key is a number, and
Each
the
key, yeah.
value of each key is a string. You're explicitly outlining that. I feel bad making this like double thing because we're kind of repeating ourselves. But I think maybe we don't even need this priority options up here now in this folder in this
Maybe
file. I mean,
there's a way for us to get the same functionality from just one of these two things.
that's what I feel
Um,
like there should be.
let's make sure. Is it working on the other page? Just to confirm.
I think it's going to be. Yeah,
Okay.
now it's working. Yep.
Hey. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So now, how are we supplying it to? How are we supplying it to the input, the select component?
Right. So we're just importing it here, and then it's it's looping over this array, and then for each option inside of there, it's taking that object and label and value. And I know that pattern's fine.
So
And
it's like we have the reverse problem, right? Because on this side of things, we're trying to index by the string
yep.
to the number.
Yeah. And I mean, you could do like a loop over this and then find the value that equals the thing, but then you have a loop and that's a little bit slower. Like this map is going to be really fast.
Yeah.
And at least in Nebulae, we have a bunch of stuff like this where we have the array of objects that you're using somewhere, but then we also have the map. The developers before I got there did that. I've seen this exact thing here in a bunch of them actually that we have, and it's just a really easy way to nab the stuff that we need. So, but then it creates two things that you have to maintain, right? So if you ever change your priorities, like maybe we add a fourth priority, or we want to change the names or something, then we have to change it in two places.
Right.
So it does feel to
Right.
me, could we dynamically create this based off of this? So
We could.
yeah, we could
We could.
do like, oops, we, oop, stop it, stop, 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 stop being bad at NeoVim, Spencer. Okay, so if we're here, we have it typed, but then if we just take this and we loop over it,
Like for each or something like that.
we do a map because that's no,
Or map. There you
no.
go.
Well, a map is going to return an array though.
Okay. What you could do is. Think about this.
There should absolutely be a way to do this. This is
I don't know if this is the right way, but what I was thinking is that you would initiate priority options map as an empty object, and then you could create a for loop that would iterate through each priority options and just assign the values the way that we want them to be.
yeah,
It
and
would
that
be
sounds
like
yeah, and that sounds like a function that would do that, right?
right. So could we do it in one statement basically, or one like instead of having empty map and then filling it in, can we do it all in the initiation of this variable? So is is for each not a possibility?
Uh, Possibly,
How do we
but
do
for
this?
each doesn't return anything.
Oh, it just performs a function or
Yeah,
something.
that's the difference between
Right.
for each and map. Is that map expects and demands you return something, and it's going to return it inside of an array. Whatever you return is going to go inside of an array. For each does not return anything, and it doesn't return anything. This is a funky little puzzle.
Looking up how to return an object from an array.
I mean, we could go. I mean, do you use the object like object from? But then,
Okay.
but uh, but then, how do you go through the process of getting all of these to be exactly what you want them to be?
Oh yeah, I think you can just we can use a map. I
An
think.
actual map. Yeah, the map constructor, like new map.
Or I'm sorry. Actually, let's see. Yeah. Actually, try this. Try setting it equal to object.from entries and then enter the array inside of the yeah.
and then
priority
priority.
options. Yeah, let's see what that returns.
No overload matches this call. Overload one of two entries. Iterable. Read only.
Maybe okay.
Turns an
Right.
object created by key value entries for properties and methods. An iterable object that contains key value entries. I don't know
No,
if we
this isn't gonna do it now.
no, because our object is more complicated than that, right? We have the label and the value
Yeah,
inside of an object inside of the
yeah. This takes actually array like separate arrays inside of an array and
mm-hmm.
turns each turns each pair of strings inside of each of these arrays. Yeah, no, this won't do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe there is a way, but I'm having a hard time coming up with a like one-liner. I can imagine the function that you would create that would do this process.
Sure. That
But
I see that too.
maybe that's why we do this. And maybe we figure this out later. We can come back. We can kind of like puzzle on this. Maybe
Okay,
come back to it a little later. See if we can figure out how to like do that.
that makes sense.
But for right now, it is working. We get our high, medium, and low in here. So I'm trying to think about now how inside of each of these things to kind of arrange this information a little bit differently. So our page, I feel like we should have an H1 up here, just like a tasks or whatever the app name is,
Mm-hmm.
as like an H1. Inside of each of these LIs, then would that be our H2 for the title of each of those?
Yes, except I think it should probably be H2 and then H3s inside of each of these. I believe H1 is like welcome to the page.
Okay,
Welcome to the
welcome to
website.
the website. Okay, H2, and then
Yeah.
each of these would be H3s. All right. So if we're gonna do H3, now those aren't going to be styled at all because but that's fine.
Yeah.
H3 paragraph. I don't think we even need the word description here. I think it's
No,
like
no, no, no.
pretty.
We could style the this text like you were saying. It could almost be italicized or something like that down the line, just to indicate that this is like subtext
Yeah.
of the actual task.
So there, if we got our task information. So then, how do we want to arrange this? If we want to make our H3 class name text large, looks okay.
Nice.
I don't know. We do font bold. I think would be sure for right now at
Nice.
least. And then we could even mess with some colors potentially. But for right now, let's leave the paragraph just the way it is. I'm thinking about this high, false, and date bit here. If we want to like put that all on one line, or do we want to?
I feel like date could almost be there's sort of a convention where it could be like at the bottom, either right or left, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, I agree with you that probably priority should also be color coded in addition to saying the word. And then
We want to put the word of priority back in there.
um I don't know. I was actually thinking about completed. I almost wonder if like
Hmm.
if something is completed, it should have like a strike through. And if it's
Yeah.
not
Oh, a different
completed,
style for sure on a completed
but like
item.
we probably don't even need to explicitly say completed or not because of that. Like it'll be more of
Yeah.
a visual.
Yeah. That could be just like data for us to know how to style something. So then, if we're,
Yeah.
most to-do items are going to have some sort of a checkbox on them. And so
Right.
that really is what is that, and a styling change between the two is what's going to denote that. So we don't completed. I'll leave it there for the moment, but that will change based on they'll change other things based on its state.
Right.
So then now there are also other ways to denote priority, right? It doesn't have to be text. It could be a border. We're going to make those a color of some sort, anyways. Like
Oh, I like
red
that.
for high, yellow for medium. Either like I don't know about green for low because green kind of has its own connotations. Maybe like a blue. At least when I use the Todoist app and stuff on here, like they have
Do
high
you
is
like?
red, yellow is medium, blue is low, and then actually gray is like the lowest. They have four, like a
Oh, I
gray.
like that. That would actually make sense. So maybe even the backgrounds are changing depending on.
Yeah, it depends on how subtle or not subtle we want to go. If it could just be a border, it could be the background. It could go any way with those. Um,
Spencer, we're already at an hour, and I do need to get going. So maybe
okay.
we pause this here and pick it back up next time you're in town.
Yeah. The idea that just came to my mind is I also kind of like the styling idea of having like a fat border on one side and that is the color. So it's not a border all the way
Ooh, oh yeah,
around,
like on left or
right?
right or
Like
something.
yeah, left or right or bottom or top. You can go either way, but then you just make it like this nice thick border of that color, and then that's a really easy way to denote the priority level without being really heavy-handed with it. I think it
Yeah,
looks
I like
chic.
that. That actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Cool.
Huh.
That's really easy to do.
I look forward when we get to the point where we can start like building out like an update route or something like that.
Yeah,
So
editing,
it's like
deleting.
I want to move this to actually a high priority now, or I want to downgrade it to low, that kind
Yep,
of thing.
yep, yeah, absolutely. We'll bring in some modals to do all that. Cool. Um, yeah. Well, you've got to go. I'll stop sharing my screen here. Very cool. Well, I'm glad we were able to fit something in. That was fun.
Yeah,
We
that was great.
learned some other TypeScript stuff. Um, yeah. There's always things that we don't expect to run into. We're like, we're just gonna do styling today, and then we sit here trying to figure out some sort of like little algorithm to do.
And here we are
Uh,
building component. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Trying to figure out leak code algorithms.
Yeah. Exactly. Um, but yeah, awesome, awesome, super fun. I've been itching to like get my fingers back in something, and then I'm gonna leave town tomorrow again. So I'll be really ready
Yeah.
when we come back in a couple weeks.
So you'll
Then
be gone next week, and then the week after that, it'll be back
yes,
to
I'll
both of
I'll
us.
be coming back into town. I think the 13th, that Saturday, we'll
Okay.
be coming back in. So the following week, the 19th, we'll have a regularly scheduled episode.
Very good. Very good. And I'll be here next week, holding down the fort again. We'll get back into some testing.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll test what we've just done today. Make sure everything's rendering completely. Might be good to build tests from that angle, from completed components, just to teach myself how testing really works, how the actual individual test within a suite should be written.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Oh, looks like we have a viewer. Hey, Matt, what's going on, man? Ha ha ha! I loving the puns. Okay, we had some comments in here. Uh, thanks for the props. Matt's a great guy. I'm working with him on another project. He's a local guy here in the cities, and uh, he's uh, he's not a developer himself, but he loves like watching the process. So
Oh, very cool, very cool.
yeah,
Well,
it's
thanks
it's
for
fun.
joining us a little bit, Matt.
Yeah, I'll be working with him on another project once I get back into town as well, and that'll be super fun to push that forward too. But cool. Well, nice long goodbye again here, but thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Matt, for joining and leaving a comment and actually like piping up in the stream. And yeah, Courtney, we'll see you guys next week. And for all the Americans out there, have a happy Independence Day, and be safe with the boom boom sticks.
Please do.
All right, see you everybody.
Take care, everyone.